everyone. We are the Team Golden Labs, and we are going to take you through how we tackle the brief and our proposed strategic solution that we think will best deliver results. To quickly recap, our brief was to develop and establish the Great Southwest Edge road trip to attract more international visitors. So to start with, we looked at the current performance of both the Australian Golden Outback and the Australian Southwest, because that's where the road trip runs through. And collectively, over the last 12 months, just under 200,000 international visitors traveled to the region. They contributed approximately $169 million to the economy and stayed in total 2.7 million nights. While we see growth in visitation, international travelers are spending less and are staying fewer nights. With this in mind, we saw a huge opportunity to use the road trip as a catalyst to attract international visitors and incentivize them to stay longer and spend more, especially given the numerous unique natural attractions that can be found along the road trip, the increased accessibility with the launch of the direct Perth-London flight, the ability for product to diversify and serve multiple purposes, and finally, leveraging off well-known destinations like Margaret River to help put the spotlight on the road trip and keep it top of mind for travelers. Next, Alex will flesh out a bit more in detail about who our core traveler is.
Thanks, alrighty. So we analysed all of the international markets visiting our region and identified two key markets that are most likely to convert to a touring holiday in the Great Southwest Edge. And these markets are Germany and the UK. So we see the biggest opportunity within these markets due to a combination of current visitation numbers, length of stay, average spend, peak travel periods, propensity to disperse regionally, travel needs, and desire to conduct a road touring holiday. But most importantly, the experiences that the majority of these consumers in these markets seek when visiting WA align with the Great Southwest Edge experience and the intrinsic values of our road touring product. Visitation to WA and Australia from these markets is already significant and is still in a period of growth. So what is it that connects these markets and other international markets with our region and product and drives them to visit? Well, Tourism Australia recently conducted a global review of our international travellers to identify high-value segments, moving away from demographics to focus on psychographics, which are the true drivers of travel. One of the markets identified was the explorer, the young-at-heart adventurer in search of the ultimate culture fix. They place high importance on nature and culture and seek to explore and engage, and they want to leave their destination feeling enriched. This is the traveller that we believe is most likely to consume our product and whose needs best align with our offering. And while this traveller exists in a variety of international markets, we still believe that the biggest opportunity lies with Germany and UK. And when we look beyond this to look at some of the relevant trends that are shaping travel today, there's one that stands out, and that is conscious travel. More and more consumers are seeking reward from the experiences that they seek and looking to give back and or learn from the communities that they visit. And many travellers consider social issues when they are weighing up destinations. And over half of travellers will not travel to a destination if they perceive that doing so will have a negative impact on the people that live in that destination.
So let's have a look at how this road trip is shaping up for our travellers. So one of the key points of difference of this road trip is it has a bit of the outback and a bit of wine and a bit of the coastline all in the one trip, and that really makes it stand out from other road trips in Australia. So some of these were mentioned earlier. We've got beautiful wave rock that was formed over billions of years. We've got the rich mining history of Kalgoorlie. We've got unique food and wine in Margaret River. And we've got this amazing coastline that goes all the way to Esperance, and of course you've got the largest gathering of wild orchids in the southern hemisphere, and who wouldn't want to see some killer whales? I know I would. But we've identified some barriers to the growth, so I'll just take you through these briefly. So we've got currently limited understanding amongst consumers and the industry of the unique selling points and the proof points. And without this, it's a bit confusing for travellers, and there's no clear reason why they should pick this road trip over the other ones. There's also a perceived lack of value in the experiences and attractions. Part of this is because the road trip is about 11 days long, so it requires quite a lot of time for travellers to dedicate to this. And the value exchange that they get back is not really clear at the moment. And there's also lack of industry buy-in. So there's a lack of understanding of the USP that I mentioned earlier. There's a lack of understanding how the products come together to really make this into one destination experience. And then for operators, there's a lack of understanding for how to access international distribution systems.
We know that tourism Western Australia has hit the road with the Road Trip State campaign. Therefore, it was very important for us to address all the barriers and find a way to uniquely position Great South West self-drive amongst all the other very competitive self-drives that exist within Australia. So the way of doing that was to reframe the problem. As Great South West Edge is a new initiative, there is a limited equity in the Great South West Edge road trip product and its offering. This lack of connection and comprehension causes the trade and the consumer to overlook the product.
So our strategic approach is twofold. So first, we want to make it memorable. So from planning through to the on-road experience, we need to focus on creating memorable and identifiable initiatives that bring the destination together. Secondly, we need to make it manageable. So focus on initiatives that help simplify comprehension of the overall destination experience, and also to work with industry to improve readiness from the ground up and develop easily bookable products to drive through the distribution system. So with this, we have come up with a 4-point strategic approach, which the team will take you through. So first is to develop and establish a clear, differentiated and emotive brand, underpinned by proof points that drive core destination messaging, and also to create emotional exchange that transforms the consumer-facing product. Next is to break down the 11-day trip and make it easy and exciting to plan. So with this, we understand 11 days is quite a massive time commitment, which not all travellers are able to commit to. So we've suggested to break down the trip into smaller bite-sized pieces, and also to add a number of smaller itineraries alongside the primary 11-day trip to make it more accessible and also easier for people to consume. Lastly is to sell the brand to industry and garner buy-in via strong marketing initiatives that excite the region. So with this, we want to engage with industry to create a digital toolkit for the brand, and also to create as few barriers as possible.
So how do we go about setting this road trip apart in consumers' minds? We looked at what our core product attributes were, and at the core were the preserved natural landscapes brimming with diversity and largely untouched by the masses, and the remote tranquility this road trip provides that particularly appeals to our high-value travellers from UK and Germany. With these core attributes in mind, we've developed the following unique selling proposition, drawing on some of the proof points to differentiate this product. Here it is. Breathe in the fresh air of unspoiled forests, See vibrant pink lakes unlike any other. Feel the warmth from pristine beaches as friendly locals hop by. Drink in the region over a glass or two. Hear nothing but the sound of memories being made in the greatest southwestern edge of the world. The only thing spoiled will be you. So with the USP focused on tapping into an unspoiled landscape, how do we balance the need to grow visitation while preserving the natural landscape and core USP of the region that makes the Great Southwest Edge so special and attractive?
So what we want to do is actually make our road trip travellers to the Great Southwest Edge part of the solution by connecting them to the local communities and the local landscape that they're travelling through to give them a broader purpose to their trip. So there's a few strategic inputs that we've really been considering. How do we develop a platform that helps elevate the brand and cut through amongst the competitive road trip set? How can we start to reframe these negative perceptions around time and distance that we spoke about before and change that to be a really positive experience by creating a deeper meaning from taking this trip? And finally, how do we become part of a global conversation? Build value in the product offering alongside something that is really credible and authentic to the Great Southwest Edge. So to create this emotional exchange for our travellers, we're really looking at putting preservation at the heart of our strategy to support long-term growth for the region. Using preservation as a way to showcase the incredible biodiversity of the region and connect with travellers on road. As Alex spoke to before, this new conscious traveller is really seeking to limit their impact on the destinations that they travel through. So our idea is simple. It's about preserving the edge. It's a nature-based road trip that cultivates conservation initiatives along the way and facilitates a true connection to travellers. We'll appeal to our travellers and encourage them to make this road trip count by offsetting their travel footprint. We'll work with local initiatives to build additional tourism product to support the preservation initiative and showcase that really great biodiversity of the region that is really unique to this destination. And finally, we'll look to garner support from the industry, working with them to donate percentage of product back into the region to support long-term growth. Ultimately showcasing and highlighting that every single mile along the Great Southwest edge of the book it's a mouthful. But the simple act of taking this road trip over others can really make a difference to support the long-term growth of the destination.
So we want to bring this marketing framework to life through digital initiatives that make the road trip more manageable. The information on this road trip currently sits across multiple sites with differing information, making it more difficult a proposition to understand. We want to focus on initiatives that drive easy comprehension of the road trip. This could include creating an interactive map that places businesses and events with social media images, or creating a drag and drop social itinerary that connects user-generated content with bookable itineraries. Having a consumer and industry-facing website will bring together the disparate destinations, making the road trip more manageable.
So it's us again. Hello. So one of the things we did as part of our market research is that we actually phoned or called about 60 operators in the region to try and get an idea from their perspective. So this is informed by that research that we did. So this is really a three-tiered approach around how we can engage the industry. The first is really to ensure that there's buy-in from operators. That was one of the things that we found in our research, that buy-in currently isn't there. So this could be done through an engagement strategy that really tries to demystify the tourism industry and all its different players, which can be quite confusing. Also tries to demonstrate what that international opportunity is and how it can really benefit them. So really putting yourself in the shoes of the small business tourism operator, and a bit of an understanding of how trade works. Again, this is quite complex. The second point is engaging industry on all of the different proof points that we've already discussed, and explain how this would be of interest to an international market, and really try and prioritise inbound tour operators that really align with the key markets that we've identified here. So trying to do that through a strategic approach, potentially presenting them with a matrix of products that they can then use themselves.
So building capabilities could be another way to tackle this problem. Our suggestion is to identify priority suppliers who are either already export ready or would like to become ones. After those suppliers are identified, there could be a workshop running either face-to-face or online. We also strongly suggest using ambassadors in a local area because those are the ambassadors who are already export ready. So they can approach themselves as suppliers who are already considering becoming export ready because they face the same problems day in and day out and can speak their language. There also could be family opportunities and marketing collateral, but not for the limited number of suppliers in a limited location. It should be for all of the suppliers throughout the self-drive. It needs to be addressed that commission will not impact the whole business of the supplier, but only the portion of it. Each of the suppliers need to be educated how all of that fits into the bigger picture. So to quickly summarize, our marketing strategy was to define a clear hook, create emotional exchange, make a journey easy to understand, and educate and engage in the industry. From the whole team of Golden Labs, thank you for your time.